I wanted to introduce you just a little bit to Rebecca. Rebecca went to Arlington High School, Arlington Memorial High School, and graduated from there, and then went to Southern Vermont College. So she's one of those graduates who are graduated from our institution with flown the coop, but she's here to shine her light for us. Rebecca worked for the, over here.
No, you're good. The guy behind you.
She worked for UCS for several years helping people find housing, and she's working for PAVE now. Rebecca is also a mom. She has a 13-year-old and a 16-year-old, and we all should bow down in appreciation for her great role as a parent, because as most of us know who've been through that, it's a big project. And so is her work finding housing for people. So I hope you give her a warm welcome, and she has not prepared some snazzy formal presentation, but she's all ready to answer all the questions we have about PAVE and how it works and what difference it makes. So let's give her now.
Hi everybody, thank you for having me. As Mark introduced me, I am Rebecca, I'm from PAVE. I'm not sure if everybody in this room or anybody for that matter knows about us. PAVE stands for Project Against Violent Encounters. At PAVE, our mission is to assist survivors or individuals who are fleeing domestic violence or sexual violence, stalking, human trafficking, to help them safely get away from their abusers and to get in a safe place. Through PAVE, we offer our survivors a lot of different resources. We work with a lot of different agencies in town to provide them with maybe financial assistance or legal assistance or housing assistance, credit building. So there's really a whole gamut of stuff that we do. We do have a shelter that is here in town. Currently at our shelter, we are able to house 6 individuals, and we have one room that is designated for a family. That becomes kind of tricky when we're trying to place people in shelter, because we have to be cautious of all the different dynamics of people, right? We don't want to place somebody in shelter that may trigger somebody else and cause chaos in the house, because that would just be good for nobody. The shelter, when somebody goes into the shelter, there are expectations, such as employment, which we have started working with a local employment agency here in town to help our survivors find employment, because as we know, right now it's kind of an easy kind of job, but it depends on who the individual is and what their background is. We have partnered with local taxis because transportation is a really, really big issue to get individuals to jobs, to appointments, to doctor's appointments, maybe even out of state where they have to go to flee. So you never really know where that might become an issue. We have, as I am a housing person, my role is to find individuals who are not in shelter, or maybe even those individuals, safe housing. The whole point of everything is to make our survivors be self-sufficient and be able to know how to live on their own safely. Some people may never have to worry about their banking or how to do their financials, or paying rent, or writing a check, so they may not be able to. So we can offer those resources and assist them. We also have support groups that have actually just started for domestic violence survivors, and basically whoever is open to the community. I think we've had only one meeting, it just started. Anybody can actually come to that. We offer our survivors phones. If they fled last night and they didn't have time to pack a bag, they can come to us, and we may be able to help them with a phone. If they say, hey, my abuser's stalking me, he's calling my phone, he's tracking me. So we can help them with items such as a phone or maybe a gas card to get somewhere safe. Food, emergency shelter, such as our shelter, or maybe a motel.
Maybe what?
A motel. The problem with motels becomes it's really hard to find motels in Bennington County. Really, really hard. A lot of the rooms are already utilized by survivors. So that puts a really big barrier in who we can work with, because we don't work with all the hotels. Some of them just don't want to work with us, some of them we can't work with. So you never really know if you're going to find a room for somebody or not, which is unfortunate. So at which case we offer them a spot in the shelter if we have a room available. And it's up to that individual whether or not they choose to come into shelter. We try to inform everybody of local resources in town. There's 211, which honestly we didn't know how many services they actually provide. Does everybody in here, does anybody know all the services they provide? There are so many, which I brought a handout if you guys want to take one and maybe just pass it so you can see. So we are always trying to get the word of PAVE out, because people know about PAVE and they know, hey, we're here to help you with domestic violence. But a lot of people, myself included, until I started working at PAVE, had absolutely no idea of all the services and resources that were available. The lack of that knowledge, this is why it's so important to get the word out, because there may be a survivor that is afraid to leave because they don't think there's anywhere to go for shelter, or they don't know how they're going to survive, or any reason. So there's a lot of really great stuff that we do. When people come into PAVE, we do have certain criteria that they have to meet in order for us to get their services, which, believe it or not, a lot of people come into PAVE just thinking, hey, you know, maybe they can help us, maybe we can. But the whole point of us is to help assist you in being safe if you are homeless, or if you are at risk of being homeless, or if you actively being domestic violence, sexual violence, human trafficking. So if you're fleeing anything, that is our biggest criteria. So you can't just come in and be like, hey, my mom kicked me out and need a place to stay, in which you would have to turn it away. We do have an outreach person, which is not me, so bear with me, who goes around town. Valentine's Day, we've had hearts that we try to place in local businesses. People could donate, and it says, love is, and then you were able to write, you know, whatever love was to you. And we charge, I believe it's $2 a heart, because we're, you know, trying to raise money so we can expand even more. We are always looking for donations from anybody, be it food or clothing, hotline assistance, which is a really big thing. So depending on the condition of whatever the object may be, we are, you know, probably would take it in that group. We have a hotline, an after-hours hotline, that is, you call, the hotline directs you to whoever may be on call. And that person works with whomever the caller is. Even if they just want somebody to talk to because they're having a hard night, or they need emergency housing, they need to get in that hotel. We're there to help them. Our hotline, however, is mostly organized by volunteers. Volunteers are very hard to come by right now, so if anybody does want to volunteer to be on the hotline, or, you know, an individual that may, you know, really not have much to do, or they just, you know, want to contribute to the cause, we would love to hear from them, because as I said, we are looking for hotline help. We do work with local housing agencies. We all kind of collaborate, which is good because it helps place more people. I actually did not know that Bennington County has one of the most highest rates in the whole state of the need for housing, which again is hard because currently right now there is no housing. I mean, it's impossible to find landlords for whatever reason. Maybe they have really high, you know, expectations of the tenant, which, you know, obviously is, you know, they're right. But even so hard to find landlords, period, especially, they might not even want to work with you. So if anybody again knows of any landlords that would like to assist us, that would be amazing. We would love to hear from you. So the whole point of, excuse me, I've already mentioned this, the whole point of the housing and the shelter is to help, you need to be self-sufficient, right? You need to eventually know how to stand on your own 2 feet, especially after you're fleeing such a horrific experience. So that is really the point of, any kind of housing that we have besides to help you get away from your abuser. We have case management. So even if you are a survivor and you leave our services, PAVE can still assist you with, again, financial building, credit repair, everything that we can do to help you, we will do. Even if you are no longer in a shelter or one of our housing units, it doesn't matter when you're not. Are there any questions so far? No?
About how many people come to PAVE? Like, does somebody come once a week? Or do you have any idea of the numbers of people who come?
We have, I don't have the exact number honestly, but we do have quite a few people who come through PAVE every week, whether it's even, it's not just women, it's men sometimes too, which then becomes kind of tricky. It's just, again, for motel reasons and shelter reasons, again, the dynamics, you need to just be cautious where you place people. We have our phone people call during the day all the time, wanting to talk to somebody, or agencies saying, hey, we need help placing this person. So we stay pretty busy. Yes?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe I read recently, I think it was in the banner, where less than 20% of domestic violence complaints actually get into the legal system. So A, did I hear that correctly? And B, does that mean that if over 80% of abusers are not held accountable, does that translate into 80% of the time it happens again and again?
So you're right about the number. A lot of abuse people don't want to report. For their own personal reasons, they may be embarrassed, they may be scared, they may just be trapped, or they may not even have a way to communicate with us. Their abuser keeps them locked in the bathroom, and keeps their phone, their money, because there is a few different forms of abuse, right? You can have financial abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, and one is not worse than the other. It's all abuse, period. So you're absolutely right when you said that.
How does that change?
If people aren't reporting abuse, sadly for whatever the reason is, we can't help them. Nobody can help them. They have to be ready to step forward. It just makes those abusers be out in the community more likely to abuse the next person. So it's really important. Even if we think somebody's being abused, just please let us know. There may not be anything we can do, but just let us know. That way we can keep our eyes and ears open in case somebody does potentially perhaps come through hotline. So we know that they are at least trying to reach out. That is another thing. The survivor has to actively reach out to PAVE themselves. We cannot have Joe Smo's mother call and be like, hey, my daughter's in a domestic violence situation, we need to get her out. Unfortunately, we can't work with that. Unless it's like a dire situation, we can't do that. They have to call.
You're saying that you have room for 6 people, one with family. That seems like almost nothing, I would think. Especially since I would think most of the people would have children. And yes, you're right, there's no housing around here. It's been like that for years and years, especially with the rental market.
Right.
So I don't know where people go who aren't being abused, much less that situation. And the same with people who are homeless. But maybe what needs to change is, kick the abuser out and leave
see, that's the thing that actually does happen, where somebody will call and be like, hey, I live with my husband, or I live with my boyfriend or girlfriend, and they're abusing me. All right, well, whose name is on the lease? Well, Joe's name is on the lease. Okay, well, his name's on the lease. Unfortunately, you have to be the one to leave. So there's a lot of different obstacles that prevent that, and there is hardly, like I said, not housing. And like you said, that seems like a lot, not enough beds and shelter, which you're absolutely right. So if anybody has any ideas or suggestions that would want to maybe help brainstorm ways to come up with more shelter space or a new shelter, additional shelter, we're always up for those solutions, those opportunities, any of that.
How many beds did you need?
Excuse me?
How many beds did you need?
How many beds, as many as you can get?
I mean, someone's, if you're having to raise funds, say, you need to buy or build, just like what the home shelter tries to do, it never ends, I guess. How would you come up with a house raised at, millions of dollars?
Absolutely, and that's part of that is most of the reason why we don't have one. That's why we're trying to come up with solutions for that problem so that we can serve more survivors, and help more people be safe. But it's just so hard right now with legal stuff and what building are you going to use and inspections and all that. So it's just there's a lot to it and it makes it hard. But once again, if anybody has any brainstorming ideas, we would be happy to sit down with anybody.
Does anybody know what they're doing with the dorms at the SVC that the hospital bought all those buildings? What are they doing with dorms?
That I haven't heard. I was told they were going to be offices, but I could have been told wrong. I'm not really sure.
That's what we need more offices.
Anybody? Any more questions?
Within your unit, what do you do for security?
We have different agencies that can assist with security deposits, rent. We have a program, the Transitional Housing Program, that helps individuals and survivors get into apartments.
That's not what I meant. I mean, physical security in your facility. Keep abusers from coming in.
Yep. We do offer, we can offer you safety, like a camera or a camera doorbell or change the locks for you. Really things along that line just to make sure that, if they can't find you, they can't see you, they have no way to stalk you. So we try to do as much as we can to keep people safe, whether they're in their apartments, their own houses, regardless of where they're at.
In that same vein, I was reading an article, and I probably dig it out when I get home, that people who are in domestic violence situations, well over 50% of them found tracking software on their phones. And it's very easy, all you need is a couple minutes alone with somebody's phone to install tracking software in there that can include sending text messages, locations by GPS or remote server. Do you have a tech person? So when somebody comes to your facility, for Android phones, it's really easy to reset. Just set it back to the factory settings. iPhones are a little harder, but do you have like a tech resource that?
We do not.
Okay, that's a huge vulnerability.
That is a really good idea. And you're absolutely right. It is so easy for somebody to install tracking anything on somebody's phone, or even not tracking stuff, to access their deleted messages, be it Facebook, text messages, voicemails, all that stuff, people can access. But we offer phones for that purpose as well. So you can, change your number and get rid of that phone, and we can give you a new phone. So that's really the reason that we hand out those if it's needed. Anybody else?
How about children? What happens with children in families where there's domestic violence, and how are you involved with children?
We do, like I said, we have the shelter that has one family room in it currently. We have a mother with a 6-year-old and an older son. So we do have that one room. We have a youth educator who is going into schools to help prevent, to get the word out. easier to try to teach somebody, it's not okay, hands aren't for hitting. This is what a healthy relationship looks like, instead of waiting for the cycle to continue where you're at finally, okay, we need to break, you did this, or, it's not okay. We want to get the word out before they have to come to PAVE. That's,
So is this outreach in all the Bennington schools, or?
we're trying.
Yeah.
We're trying to, but because of COVID restrictions, up to recently, it's been really hard to get into schools to do that. So we do also work with agencies like Sunrise, who are family-based. We have family time where you have supervised visits with your children if you're an abuser. We can also help individuals do RAs, relief from abuse, and go to court with them. We can't necessarily speak in court, but we can offer the emotional support and help them fill out paperwork and stuff, even if it's for children, or help. A lot of times individuals will call and be like, my abuser's not returning my children, I don't know what to do. In which case we would help them go through that process and help them contact the authorities and talk to them, discuss their parental rights and all that. So we like to keep individuals as informed as possible, and that includes children, teenagers, the whole gamut. So we try.
Oh, let's give Rebecca a big hand.